today I have a video that could end disastrously. We don't know, because I don't know if any of you guys have it, but every time my mum reads a book, she's like, Maddie, you would love this book. And I'm like, somehow I doubt that. But today I'm giving her the option to prove me wrong, because every book she recommends me, I'm gonna have to read. So I think this is the first time I'm actually introducing my mother to the channel, but if she would like to come in now, she's going to bring me my first book.
Yeah, is it stuck here?
Okay, show the camera what you've given me, and I'm going to open my eyes in 1, that was 3, 2, 1. Oh, this is the one you just...
Yeah, so there are rivers in the sky. The reason I've chosen this for you is it's very beautifully written.
Okay.
Okay, so the poetry, it's very poetical in its writing style. There's zero spice.
Okay, that's good.
I know that's the kind of a thing
good.
for you. And it follows, there's 3 stories that all interlink, which I think is really powerful. And there's really kind of hidden depths to the book.
Okay.
So it's going to take you completely, it's completely opposite to what you would normally read.
Yeah, I was going to say. Oh my god, okay, it's a long book too. It's nearly 500 pages.
And it's very beautiful.
Okay, well, then we're going to start with this book, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts as I go along, and then I'll do my final review with you before you give me the next one.
Excellent.
I am 62 pages into the book, and I would say just started getting into it. Like, I'm definitely not fully invested. When it's put down, it's like out of my mind and I'm not really thinking about it. But I will say, I think the first chapter was so much more convoluted, and I don't even know like how to describe it. Like, it was written very poetic, but like, because it was a book, I was like, I don't know who these characters are. I don't actually know what it's talking about, because I could be wrong. I could have completely misinterpreted it, but it was like from the perspective of the rain, which was a bit weird. But I think I've gathered now that that was just giving a little bit of like history or like backstory or something, because one of the things they spoke about in the first chapter has just come into it again on, I think I'm on like, I don't know, 5th or 6th. It's not really like chaptered out, but I think you get a bit more of a sense now of the characters. So there are 3 storylines, but I don't think I've been introduced to the 3rd storyline yet. So far we've got 2 of the people, and it's written a little, like, it is still very like descriptive writing, which isn't always, I guess, because I don't have the best imagination. Interestingly, I love poetry. My brother got me a poetry book for my birthday, but if it's poetry, I sit down and I analyse, and I love it on that level. If I'm reading a book, I'm reading it for like escapism, so I was struggling a little bit with that, and I still do find it like you have to like lock it in, you can't just like read it. But like, I do have a better sense of the characters, the storylines that are going on. Like, there's a perspective so far I've got of a boy who was born in the slums and he's really intelligent, like he's a genius. But we've then got a perspective of a young girl who, I don't want to get it wrong, but it seems like she's part of some sort of like tribe or religious group that's not even persecuted, but like, I'm trying to sound intelligent and I'm struggling, but who is sort of on the outskirts of society, and she is kind of wanting to get baptized. She's losing her hearing, there's stuff going on there. The boy, obviously, like I said, is in the slums, he's very poor. He is very intelligent but has like no opportunities really so far to do anything with it, and kind of isn't being listened to or heard or nurtured. And his mother has mental health issues and all of that stuff, so it definitely has started getting more of a storyline, which I'm grateful for. And it is written, like, there are some beautiful lines. I actually took a quote, there was a quote I liked, which was, "Hatred is a poison served in 3 cups. The first when people despise those they desire because they want to have them in their possession. It's all out of hubris. The second is when people loathe those they do not understand. It's all out of fear. Then there is the third kind, when people hate those they have hurt." And I was like, oh, that's a really nice little sentence there. So no, it is very pretty. There's also randomly pictures in here sometimes, but definitely getting into it more. And I'm going on the train tomorrow, so I'm going to take it with me, and I'm going to feel very intelligent reading this on the train. I thought I would give an update. I would say maybe 70% of the way through the book. I can actually, let's actually do this properly. Hello, can I talk? Yeah, 70, that's crazy. That's spot on 70, wow. Anyway, and I have some thoughts because this is taking me a while to get through. Because I don't want to say I'm not enjoying it. Essentially, there are 3 perspectives in this. And I only like one of them is my main issue. So the other 2, I'm like so much slower to read it. And then I get to the one I like and I'm like, oh, this is good, this is good. But like the chapters are quite short. So although that's kind of good because it's like you don't spend too long in a chapter you don't like, it's also like you don't spend too long in a chapter you do like. And then my other issue with this is they basically connect all 3 storylines, which is very satisfying and nice. But literally every single thing is connected in a way that's so unrealistic that it's annoying me. And I'm like, this is a book that's meant to be, it's realism, like it's based in reality, so the chances of all of those things happening to all of the people is so minute and it's so annoying. And now I'm at the, like, everyone says it picks up towards the end, but I'm actually finding the opposite now. Like now I'm getting even slightly bored of the storyline I did like. I am really struggling with it actually, but I have enjoyed it, and it is very like beautifully written, which in one way is like so satisfying to read, but in another way I feel like that's also what's like keeping me a bit separate, because it almost feels like I'm like studying the book rather than reading and enjoying it, because I very much read for pleasure and escapism, whereas I feel like I'm having to stay quite like locked in. I wonder if this is the quote that I thought was interesting from like a feminism perspective. Yeah, I think it is. This is one of my favourite ones. "Zalika is not the only one running out at this hour. A tall, hefty man is rapidly approaching from the opposite direction. As he nears, noisily gulping air, rings of sweat on his shirt. He passes uncomfortably close. He does not look at her. It does not occur to him that he might frighten her with his proximity, having never had cause to feel such fear himself." Like that. So there are moments that I really like about it. It's just not really my type of thing. Like it is a little bit too... It's meant, I guess it's all meant to be thought-provoking, and sometimes I feel like I get some like demand avoidance when I feel like something's being like, think about this, oh, this is like a, it always feels like they're writing stuff for the purpose of it being like a teachable quote, and that kind of like can grate on me a little bit. But I'm nearly done. I could probably finish it tonight if I wanted to. I just don't know if I want to, because I think I'm going to write some of my book instead and watch TV. Okay, I finished it, and it took me like 4 days to read, 5 days maybe, and I will say I was invested but I didn't enjoy it. I maintained like I never really grew into the other 2 perspectives. I kind of didn't really like them. It did annoy me how interconnected everything was, but it was very beautifully written. So yeah, so I'm really glad I read it actually, and there were some really beautiful moments, and for a while I was very much enjoying Arthur's point of view, but even that kind of fizzled out towards the end, and it was just... Hello? Hey guys! I knew you I'm filming it. Welcome to my book review. If I saved all the videos, I would be able to make such a long compilation of you interrupting me going, hi guys! I want to talk about the book I read. It was... At this point it's just repetitive and tiring. Just gonna cut it out, aren't I? Do you agree with it? Kind of, mostly. So it's almost like it was cyclical. Sickly. Like a cyclic. Anyway. We are back with my beautiful mother. I have given her my thoughts on the book as I went along, so I don't need to do any of that now. But I'm going to give you my rating. What do you, first of all, based on what I've said, what do you think I'm going to rate it?
Out of?
5.
Probably either a 3 or a 3.5.
I was going to do 3, so that's very okay. Okay, and now we've got my next book, which is in here, and again, I don't know what it is, so I'm going to close my eyes, then you show it to the camera, and then I see it. Okay. I'll put my hands out. Ooh, okay. I knew it was going to be, you said I wouldn't know it was going to be this. She loves this book. This is the Seven Sisters. Yeah.
So there's 8 books in the series.
Oh my god, it's so long.
Every book I read is long. The interesting thing about this is that it's quite similar in one way to the one you've just read, as in it goes back in time.
Okay.
So there's
the multiple perspectives, or is it one?
2 perspectives really.
Okay, that's fine.
But within that, it's a really interesting. So there's 8 books in the series. I've just finished the 8th one, and I want you to read it.
I would have been disappointed if you didn't give me this one, because you've spoken so highly of it. I'd be like, she's not taking this challenge seriously if I didn't get it.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite series.
Okay, let's start this now. I am 123 pages in, so I thought that's a good time to give my no, it's not really first impressions, but I would say it is quite slow, especially given how long the book is. That makes me nervous that it's going to maintain that slow pace. But we've got to a point that I'm interested now. If you don't know what this book is about, it is basically this rando guy is like obsessed with, I think it's the stars, is it a constellation? This is proof of how like into it I am. And he basically adopts daughters every couple years, and he names them like after, I think it's a constellation, I can't remember, I feel terrible, but, and they don't really know why he did that. And they also, he never adopted the 7th one. There's meant to be 7, hence the name Seventh Sister, but then he never brought home the 7th one. And then basically the book starts with him dying, and he, I don't know how much of this is a spoiler because it took a while to get to this, but then it's also kind of the premise of the book, so I'm going to say it. He leaves all of the sisters an envelope with the like coordinates of where their like story started, so it's like where they were born or where he like met them or something like that, I'm gathering. And this one is about the elder sister, and I believe there's, well, I know there's like 7, there might be even be 8 books, I think there's one about the dad, and it's going on their journey. So she's gone to Brazil, but the one thing, I find the plot interesting, like I'm intrigued to know why he adopted them, I'm intrigued to know like where she came from and what her story is. Yeah, but I find the characters quite unbelievable, and also like I'm not in love with them. I don't really feel like so far they're very well rounded out, and especially given like that they're 6 sisters raised together. They speak very formally to each other. They don't really, it doesn't, I mean, as someone with a sister, I don't feel like that relationship is very well written, and it might change, but so far like I'm reading it and I'm like, did they really grow up together? Do they even like each other? Or not even, I don't even think they dislike each other. I think they're just completely neutral. But yeah, she's just starting to explore the coordinates, where she came from, and so it is getting a little bit more interesting, but it's very slow, and honestly it's very daunting. I'm not wanting to pick it up at all, but when I'm reading it I'm like this is interesting. So those are my current thoughts. So I would update because I read a lot more on the train today. I think, let me actually check how far in I am. I brought it along in my little book sleeve that I got for my birthday. so that was fun. Oh my god, it's not even, it feels like I'm so far in, but I'm like this far in. I am 220 pages in, and I finally reached a point where sometimes my brain drifts to it and being like, oh, I should pick it up. And actually I was kind of excited to go to bed tonight to pick it up, but my current issue is that I went to Superdrug Presents Day, which was an amazing event. It was so good. I'm trying to go through all my makeup because I'm donating half of it, and I'm trying to like decide what to keep and that sort of thing. And then also Sarah Caroli, is that even how you say her name? I don't know, I apologise if I'm saying it wrong, posted a new vlog today and I really want to watch that, but I also really want to get an early night, so I need to get all of this done now so that I can read a couple pages and then watch her vlog. And then, because I also need to get cracking on editing this tomorrow, and I really need to pick up the pace reading the book. But I am finding it a lot more interesting now that we're in the second point of view. I will say it's very weirdly written in the way that we spent like a quarter of the book in one point of view and then a quarter of the book in another. It doesn't, like, you know, it's usually like 1 or 2 chapters in one point of view and then you swap over. Like, this is like 5 or 6, maybe even more chapters in one point of view, and then you're in another one. So I don't know when I'm going to go back to the first person's point of view. I don't really want to. I honestly think I would enjoy this book way more if it was just the second perspective, Isabel's like perspective the whole way through. I'm genuinely finding that interesting, whereas I don't find Maya's storyline, and it's interesting because I don't think I like Lucinda Riley's writing and the way she describes characters when I was reading Maya's, and then I've started on Isabella, I can't remember, and I'm like, oh, I like her, like this is fun, they've got different dynamics going on. And I spoke to my mum and she did say, in her opinion, Maya's is the worst written perspective in the whole series, so that makes sense. But yeah, I am actually like enjoying it now. I'm interested, I'm forming opinions, whereas before I was just kind of like, whatever happens happens. But no, I am actually into it, and I do definitely want to read some more tonight, so I just have to do this. This isn't even, I've already put so much away and donated so much, and we're still doing this, so I'm gonna do that for a bit and then get myself ready for bed, read maybe 20 or 30 pages because I have read a bit more today, and then Sarah Caroli to bed. Ow. Why am I so pale in this light? Wait, the guy thought she was gonna get with this guy. Guys, I'm stupid, he's not gay. I read it wrong, I'm clearly too tired. So the relationship is back on.
Other cast members and just like people on the show.
Last night I swapped to reading the book on my Kindle because I find that I read faster on my Kindle. I think it's because it tells me like how long's left in the book, so like I'm like more motivated to keep going, and I definitely am into it. I'm 70% of the way in now and I'm invested and I'm enjoying it, and I'm finding it substantially better than I was finding it. The storyline's really interesting. The fact that like I don't think we necessarily, it's very predictable where it's gonna go, so I am like intrigued to see where it's gonna go. My one complaint is I don't think the characters are necessarily the best written, like slash fleshed out. I feel like all of her friends are pretty similar in the way they're written, to the point where I sometimes have to double check who I'm like reading, and I'm not like particularly invested in any of the characters. Like the only one I'm really invested in is Isabella, and I do really like her, and I think it's interesting, like love versus family duty and all of those themes are really interesting. But I don't, yeah, other than that I'm not particularly like, I don't have a good read on who any of the other characters are because they're pretty much written the same. But I am really enjoying it, and I actually think I might finish it today. I'm glad that my mum recommended it to me because it's a pretty decent book. I'm crying. Oh my god, It's really sad. Oh my god. It's just gone really rainy and cozy and I've finished the books, so I'm kind of mad about that because I'm like, excuse me, I want to read in the nice cozy vibe, but yeah, I get to edit in the nice cozy vibe now. We'll give you an update on the last book I read and then the one I just read now in a minute. I'm just gonna make myself some lunch. Okay, let's talk about the books. First of all, The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. I ended up giving that a 3.75 rating, which was way higher than I thought I was going to give it, but I did really end up getting into it, particularly with Isabella's point of view. Without spoiling, I did feel like it was very odd. So it was like the beginning was very slow and boring, then the middle was like really interesting and I was like, oh, this is so cool, like all of this is tying together, I'm really invested, and then the end went back to being a little bit slow and boring, which is why it didn't get to 4 stars. But I did enjoy it. The writing style, I think I mentioned before, I don't think the characters are particularly complex. In fact, they're pretty much just copy and paste. For me, a lot of the endings were very unsatisfying, and a lot of the secrets that were kept, I wasn't sure why they were kept a secret. Like, it's kind of like a family conspiracy went through about keeping certain information away, and I was a bit like, I don't get why they're doing that, because loyalties were a bit confusing in it. But I did really enjoy it and it was very interesting. The historical element, the decisions the characters had to make were really, like, I didn't know which of the right choice was, and I think I said before, like, it was quite interesting how, although it was predictable and although you knew the ending because the other perspective is like years in the future, you didn't really know how they were going to get there, and that was quite fun. Like, you're like, okay, I know this happened, but given what's happening right now, how the heck did they get to that? And then my mum recommended me a final book just to read today, which was Claire Keegan's Foster. It was very weird. I did read it in one sitting because it's 88 pages, but like very big text. So I literally sat down and in like, I think I read it in like 40 minutes, maybe even less. Like I didn't even look at my phone. I literally just sat down and read it. And again, there were elements of it that were endearing, but I was just very confused. I didn't really understand what was happening. It was fun that it was set in Ireland because my family are from Ireland and I'm going to Ireland very soon, so I felt like that was nice. And because a lot of the language was written in the Irish way of speaking and their demeanour, I could visualise it, so that was good. But it was just a little bit like, I was like, what the heck is going on? But if you want a quick read, and it felt like something I would read at school, like when I was doing my GCSEs or something. It felt like the type of book you'd analyse and be like, why is this line important? But I was just like, just give me a I don't know what I would rate this, probably like 2.75, because the characters were nice, but I just hadn't a clue what was going on. So if you don't know, I feel like I didn't give a summary of anything, but this book's basically about a girl who comes from a very poor family. I think all of this could be wrong because, like I said, I didn't know what was going on, but comes from a very poor family and goes to live with this older couple, and basically it's a very different life than she's used to, essentially. So very interesting reads, and I'm very happy with the books my mum chose for me. I would say probably the only successful one was The Seven Sisters, and it's not like, it didn't make me be like, oh my god, I should be reading women's literature more, but I was like glad. I was like, oh, this is a nice change of pace and it's not as like predictable and all of that, so it was good. But I think I'll be going back to my fantasy, romantasy and romance now.